My wife handed me the ultrasound at our kitchen table, with our 14-year-old son watching. And I knew immediately the baby wasn't mine, not suspected, knew. It was a Thursday. August something. Late afternoon light coming through the kitchen window. That gold Colorado sun hitting the pine floors. Dylan was eating leftover pizza, scrolling on his phone. Normal. Everything was so goddamn normal. Jessica slid the paper across the table. That thermal printout, you know the kind. Slightly curled at the edges, grainy black and white image that's supposed to be magical. Fort Collins Women's Clinic, printed across the top in blue. She was smiling, that careful practice smile she uses for church photos and parent-teacher conferences. "We're pregnant," she said, not "I'm." "We're." Dylan looked up from his phone. "Wait, seriously? Surprise?" Jessica's voice had that high note, too bright. "We're going to have a baby, sweetheart." My hand froze holding the paper. The date was right there, July 22nd, 2024. Someone had written in blue pen along the margin, 6 weeks, 2 days. 6 weeks. I did the math. Combat vets are good at math, angles, trajectories, timing. You calculate fast or you die. Conception would have been early June, first week, maybe second. I was in Denver then, locked down in the VA residential PTSD program, 4 full weeks, May 15th to June 14th. No overnight passes, no exceptions. I remember because I'd marked my construction calendar in red before I left, circled those dates. 28 days in a facility 90 miles away, while my crew ran jobs without me. The paper crinkled in my hand. That specific sound thermal paper makes, like fire catching. It smelled chemical, waxy. "Marcus?" Jessica was watching my face. "Aren't you happy?" Dylan was grinning now. "That's crazy. I'm going to be a big brother." I looked at my son, 14 years old, good kid, straight A's, plays football, works construction with me on weekends. He had pizza sauce on his chin and hope in his eyes. "Yeah," I said. My voice came out flat. That's great." But I was already calculating. July 26th, 6 weeks. The math was simple and devastating. I waited until Dylan went to bed, told him congratulations again, watched him text his friends about becoming a big brother. He was excited, pure, uncomplicated excited. The kind of excited that made my chest hurt. 10 o'clock. His bedroom door closed, music playing low. I went to my home office. The construction calendar sat on my desk, one of those big desk pad ones, maybe 24 by 18 inches. Bennett & Sons building printed across the top in block letters I'd designed myself. Every job site written in black Sharpie. Addresses, client names, crew assignments, personal stuff in blue pen, smaller. I flipped back to May, June. May was marked up heavy. Jobs overlapping, phone calls, material deliveries. Then May 15th, everything stopped. In red marker, circled twice. VA Residential Denver, 5/15/6/14. 4 weeks of blank calendar squares, no jobs, no appointments. Just that red circle in white space. June 14th, Tommy had written in his handwriting, "Marcus back, schedule full crew briefing." I pulled open the file drawer, found the VA discharge papers in the medical folder. Heavy paper, that specific government weight, almost like it's reinforced. The VA seal embossed at the top. You could trace the eagle with your fingertip, feel it raised. Stapled in the upper left, industrial staple, heavy duty. Successful completion of 4-week intensive PTSD residential program. Dates of service, May 15th through June 14th, 2024. Dr. Patricia Morales' signature at the bottom. Dated June 14th. And then, in smaller print, patient remained in facility for duration of treatment. No overnight passes issued per program protocol. No passes, locked down. I'd been in group therapy, one-on-ones, medication adjustment. Sleeping in a twin bed in a room with another vet who screamed in his sleep about Fallujah. 4 weeks of fluorescent lights and scheduled meals, and learning how to talk about Kandahar without my hands shaking, 90 miles from home. The ultrasound was dated July 22nd, 6 weeks pregnant. Conception, early June. I wasn't home, physically could not have been home. The baby couldn't be mine. Friday morning, I found myself staring at Jessica's keys on the kitchen counter. She'd gone for a run. Does it every morning, 5 miles, leaves before dawn. Dylan was still asleep. It was summer break. He'd sleep till noon if I let him. Her keys sat by the coffee maker, car key, house key, and that black plastic gym key fob with the Prime Athletics logo in red, scratched from use, attached to everything with a silver carabiner that jingled. I picked it up, felt the plastic rough under my thumb. Prime Athletics. The CrossFit gym where she'd been training for, how long? Since January, she'd said. New Year's resolution. Getting back in shape, reclaiming her body after years as an army wife. I'd encouraged it. Told her I was proud of her. The fob had a barcode on the back. Scan it every time you check in, she'd explained. They track attendance. I thought about those late-night text messages. Class running late. Catching up with the girls after. Don't wait up. How many times had she said that? Twice a week, 3 times, some weeks. My phone was in my hand. I pulled up the gym's website, member portal. She'd logged in on my laptop once. Browser saved the password. Check-in history loaded. May, June, July. A pattern emerging. Monday night, 10 p.m. Wednesday, 9:45 p.m. Friday, 10:15 p.m. Late night classes, she'd said. The only ones that fit her schedule. But I scrolled further. April, March, February. The pattern went back months. Always late. Always the same times. The front door opened. Jessica's running shoes on the hardwood. I dropped the keys, picked up my coffee mug like I'd just been standing there. Morning, she said. Breathing hard, face flushed, pulling out earbuds. She grabbed water from the fridge. Dylan up yet? Not yet. She took the keys, clipped them to her running belt. That jingle of the carabiner. I've got a shift at 2, she said. Can you make sure Dylan eats something before I leave? Yeah, sure. She kissed my cheek. I could smell her, sweat, deodorant, that specific scent of exertion. She went upstairs. I stood there holding my coffee. 10 p.m. check-ins, 3 times a week, for months. Saturday afternoon, Dylan brought me his laundry. I was in the basement, folding my own clothes, trying to keep my hands busy. Hey, Dad. He dropped the basket on the dryer. Can you show me how to fold shirts the way you do? Mom always makes it complicated. Sure, buddy. His football jersey was on top. Number 24, red and white, Fort Collins Middle School colors. Bennett across the back above the numbers. The fabric was polyester, that athletic material that swishes when it moves. Grass stains on the knees, one elbow. It smelled like Tide and Teenage Boy. That specific mix of clean laundry and post-practice sweat that never completely washes out. I folded it carefully. Sleeves in, then thirds. The way my drill sergeant taught me 20 years ago. Thanks, Dad. Dylan was quiet for a second. Then, is everything okay with Mom? My hands stopped. What do you mean? I don't know. You guys seem off, like you're not talking, and Mom's been weird. I looked at him, 14 years old, already 6 feet tall, same height as me, starting to need to shave. When did that happen? We're fine, I lied. Just busy. She's got work. I've got the business. Yeah, but... He picked at a thread on his jersey. If you guys are getting divorced or something, just tell me. Don't treat me like a kid. The words hit harder than shrapnel. Dylan. I set down the shirt. Listen to me. Your mom and I, we're working through some stuff. But whatever happens, you need to know something. You're the best thing I've ever done. Nothing that happens between your mom and me changes that. You hear me? He nodded, eyes getting red. Are you getting divorced? I couldn't answer, because I didn't know yet if we were getting divorced, or if she'd trap me first. Sunday night, after Dylan was asleep, I'd spent the weekend building evidence, quiet reconnaissance, the calendar, the VA papers, the gym check-in history I'd screenshotted before clearing the browser. I laid it all out on our bed. Paper trail. Jessica came up from the living room, saw the document spread across the comforter. Marcus, what is this? I picked up the ultrasound, held it next to the VA discharge papers. July 22nd, I said. 6 weeks pregnant. Conception was early June. Okay. I was in Denver the entire month of June. May 15th to June 14th, locked down in residential PTSD treatment, no passes. Look, I pointed to the papers. It's right there in black and white. Her face went still. You were in Denver until June 14th, and conception was the first or second week of June, while I was 90 miles away in a locked facility. My voice stayed level, combat calm. The math doesn't work, Jessica. She sat down on the edge of the bed, looked at the papers, looked at me. Maybe they got the dates wrong at the clinic. Ultrasounds are accurate to within a few days. You know that. You're a nurse. Silence. This baby isn't mine, I said. The words came out quiet, final. She started crying. Not the gentle, manipulative tears, real ones, shoulder-shaking, breath-catching sobs. I'm sorry, she said. Marcus, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake. One stupid mistake. When? June. The women's retreat. Sedona. She wiped her eyes. I met someone. It was one night. It meant nothing. The women's retreat was June 7th through 9. Yes. During my treatment, while I was locked down dealing with PTSD. I know it was wrong, but Marcus, she grabbed my hand. I was lonely. You were gone. You've been gone so much with deployments and now the VA and... Don't. I pulled my hand back. Don't make this about deployments. But it's true. 3 tours, Marcus. 3 years of Dylan's childhood. I waited. I supported you. I held down everything while you were overseas. And now, with your PTSD, the therapy, the residential program. So you cheated on me while I was getting treatment for combat trauma. That's not... She took a breath. Marcus, please. Think about Dylan. Think about our family. We can get through this. People work through infidelity. We can go to counseling. You want me to claim this baby as mine? She looked up at me, eyes red, desperate. Yes. Lie to everyone, to Dylan, to your doctors. File false paternity. It's not false if you agree to be the father. That's how it works legally. You'd be the presumed father. No one has to know. I'd know. Marcus, please. Her voice cracked. I made a mistake, but if this comes out, if anyone finds out, Dylan's life will be destroyed. The whispers, the gossip. You know how this town is, and with your career, the business, your reputation. My reputation. Yes, you're Marcus Bennett. Purple Heart recipient, local contractor. Everyone respects you. If this scandal gets out, what happens to Bennett and Sons? What happens to Dylan at school? I stared at her. This woman I'd been married to for 15 years, who I'd deployed away from, who I'd come home to with scars and nightmares and a diagnosis I didn't want, who'd stood next to me at VA appointments and said, for better or worse. There's something else, she said quietly. My therapist knows about your PTSD episodes, the flashbacks, the nightmares. If this goes to custody court, my blood went cold. You wouldn't. I don't want to. But Marcus, if you force this into the open, if you file for divorce over this, it becomes a custody battle, and judges look at mental health. Your diagnosis is documented, the residential treatment, the medication, the ongoing therapy. She was threatening me. Actually threatening to use my PTSD, the thing I went to war and got broken for, against me in family court. You weren't there for 3 deployments, she said, softer now, playing the card. You weren't there for years of Dylan's childhood. Now you won't be there for this baby. After everything I've sacrificed, the motif, her weapon. I looked at the ultrasound, the calendar, the VA papers. Get out of my room, I said. Marcus, get out. She left, closed the door softly. I sat on the bed surrounded by evidence. My phone buzzed, text from Tommy Chen. Beer tomorrow? You sound off lately? I texted back. Yeah, need to talk. Because Jessica was right about one thing. I wasn't alone in this fight, not anymore. Monday morning. Tommy's truck pulled up to the job site at 6 a.m. We were framing a garage addition on the north side of town. 4-day job, simple work. But I couldn't focus. Tommy Chen, 41, infantry, same as me. We'd served together in Kandahar, different platoons, but same FOB. He took shrapnel saving 3 guys during a compound breach. I took shrapnel pulling him to cover afterward. We came home with matching scars and matching nightmares, started Bennett and Sons building together 6 years ago. Equal partners, brothers. He brought coffee, set it on the tailgate of my truck. You gonna tell me what's eating you, or we gonna pretend you're fine? I looked at him. Tommy had this way of seeing through bullshit. Comes from watching each other's backs in a war zone. You learn what a man looks like when he's lying. Jessica's pregnant. Hey, that's... He stopped, read my face. That's not good news. The baby's not mine. He was quiet for a long moment, sipped his coffee. You sure? I pulled out my phone, showed him the screenshots I'd saved, the calendar, the VA discharge papers I'd photographed, the ultrasound with the dates. Tommy studied them. Did the math the way infantry does it, fast, accurate, no mistakes allowed. Denver residential, he said, May 15th to June 14th. No passes. And conception was... He looked at the ultrasound. First week of June. Yeah. He handed back my phone. Brother, she's lying. Hearing him say it out loud did something to my chest, made it real. Not just my suspicion or my paranoia, or my PTSD making me see threats that weren't there. Tommy saw it too. The evidence was solid. There's more, I said. She's threatening to use my PTSD in a custody battle if I don't claim the kid as mine. Tommy's jaw tightened. She said that? Basically. Said her therapist knows about my episodes. Said judges look at mental health. That's... He took a breath, controlled it. Marcus, you know that's bullshit, right? You're in treatment. You're managing it. That's evidence you're a good father, not a bad one. Try explaining that in family court. We will if we have to. He looked at me. But first things first. You need a lawyer. You need documentation. And you need to know you're not fighting this alone. Tommy, no, listen to me. His voice dropped. That command tone from the army. In Kandahar, when everything went sideways, what did we do? Stuck together? Damn right. Brotherhood means no one fights alone. That applied then. Applies now. He gripped my shoulder. We're gonna figure this out, but you can't do it by yourself. And you definitely can't let her weaponize your mental health against you. Something loosened in my chest. The isolation I'd been carrying since Thursday night. Thank you, I said. Don't thank me yet. We've got work to do. He pulled out his phone. My sister Emily? You remember her? She's a social media investigator. Works for law firms doing digital forensics. If Jessica's having an affair, there's probably evidence online. People always leave evidence. Jessica doesn't really post much. Not her. The guy. What do you know about him? Nothing. She said it was someone she met at a women's retreat in Sedona, June 7th through 9. Tommy was already texting. Emily can track that. Give me a day. Tuesday night, Tommy called. You sitting down? I was in my truck outside Dylan's football practice. Yeah, what'd you find? Emily worked her magic, found the women's retreat itinerary from your church's website, cross-referenced with Instagram posts tagged in Sedona during those dates. Found a guy named Brett Callahan, CrossFit coach, 32, works at Prime Athletics. My stomach dropped. Prime Athletics, Jessica's gym. Keep going. He posted 47 times from Sedona that weekend. Jessica's clearly visible in 12 of them. Red Rock hiking trails, restaurant patios, sunset photos. There's one where she's reflected in his sunglasses. Emily got screenshots of everything before he made his account private. Send them to me. My phone buzzed. Photos loading. I opened the first one. Brett, shirtless, lean, that influencer look. Standing on a red rock formation, arms spread wide. And there, in the corner of the frame, Jessica. White tank top, sunglasses, smiling, unmistakable. Next photo. A restaurant table, 2 wine glasses. You could see Jessica's hand reaching for one, her wedding ring catching the light. Next, a hiking trail, Brett taking a selfie, Jessica's reflection in his sunglasses, clear as day. I scrolled through all 12. Different locations, different times, same 2 people. There's more, Tommy said. Emily pulled records from the resort, found an invoice. Want to guess what it says? Tell me. Red Rock Couples Wellness Weekend, June 7th to 9th, 2024. 2 guests, Brett Callahan and Jessica Bennett. Couples massage package, romantic dinner, private cabana rental. I was gripping the phone so hard my hand hurt. She told me she went alone, I said. For mental health. Said she needed space to process everything with my PTSD. Marcus, she booked a romantic couples weekend with another man while you were in residential treatment. Yeah, that's not a one-night mistake. That's premeditated. She planned this, paid for it, lived it. Through the windshield, I could see Dylan on the practice field, running drills, normal 14-year-old stuff. He had no idea his entire world was about to implode. What do I do with this? I asked. You document it, save everything, and when you're ready, you use it. Because this isn't he said, she said anymore. This is photographic evidence with timestamps and financial records. No judge is going to overlook this. I need to tell Dylan. Not yet, Tommy said. Not until you have a plan. Talk to a lawyer first. Get your ducks in a row. Then you tell him, but you tell him before anyone else does. Yeah, okay. And Marcus? One more thing. What? You're gonna get through this. I've seen you take worse hits than this and keep moving. You're a survivor. Don't forget that. I hung up, sat in my truck with my phone full of evidence. The invoice said, Couples Wellness Weekend. Jessica told me she went alone. Every single day was a lie. Thursday, 2 p.m., Dylan's school called. Principal Robert Douglas wanted to see both parents, immediately, regarding Dylan's behavior and academic performance. Jessica and I drove separately, met in the parking lot outside Fort Collins Middle School. We hadn't spoken since Sunday night. She looked tired, defensive. Any idea what this is about? She asked. No. We walked in together, kept distance between us. The school secretary sent us straight to the principal's office. Principal Douglas was mid-50s, former teacher, had Dylan in 8th grade civics last year. Good guy, fair guy. He looked concerned. Mr. and Mrs. Bennett, thank you for coming on short notice. He gestured to the chairs. We need to talk about Dylan. Jessica sat forward. Is he in trouble? Not trouble exactly, but we're seeing some concerning patterns. He opened a folder. Dylan's always been an excellent student. Straight A's, active in sports, leadership potential. But over the last 3 weeks, his grades have dropped significantly. He failed 3 assignments in English, missed 2 tests in math. His football coach says he's skipping practice. My chest tightened. 3 weeks, right around when Jessica announced the pregnancy. He's also gotten into 2 altercations with other students. Nothing violent, but verbal confrontations that are completely out of character. His teachers are worried. We'll talk to him, I said. I appreciate that, but I need to ask. Principal Douglas looked between us. Is everything okay at home? Because what we're seeing is consistent with a student under significant stress. Family issues, major changes, that kind of thing. Jessica reached over and took my hand. I let her, for show. We're fine, she said. Just busy. Marcus's business is growing. I've got shifts at the hospital. Dylan wrote an essay 2 months ago, Principal Douglas interrupted. He pulled out papers. For his English class, the prompt was Define Integrity. Want to know what he wrote about? He turned the papers around. I could see Dylan's handwriting. He wrote about you, Mr. Bennett, about your military service, about how you taught him that integrity isn't about perfection. It's about what you do when no one's watching. It was one of the best essays I've read in 20 years of teaching. I couldn't breathe. And then 3 weeks ago, he failed 3 assignments in a row. Didn't even turn them in. When his teacher asked him why, you know what he said? What? My voice came out rough. He said, what's the point of writing about integrity when everyone's lying anyway? The room went silent. Jessica's hand tightened on mine. I pulled away. What's happening at home? Principal Douglas asked directly. Because something is destroying that boy's faith in the world, and I need you both to figure out what it is before we lose him completely. I looked at Jessica. She looked at the floor. We're working through some things, I said finally. I'll talk to Dylan. Make sure he knows. My voice caught. Make sure he knows he's not responsible for adult problems. Please do. And gentlemen, whatever's happening between you two. He looked at both of us. Figure it out. Because right now, the only casualty I'm seeing is your son. So here's my question for you. If you were me, your wife cheating, your son falling apart, her threatening to use your PTSD against you in court, would you stay quiet, protect your son from the truth, claim the baby to keep the peace, type protect, or tell the truth no matter the cost, risk everything for integrity, type truth? What would you do? I'll tell you what I chose, but first, I want to know what you'd choose. A lot of you probably typed truth, some typed protect. Here's the thing. Both come from love. One protects the child, one protects the truth. I had to decide which one Dylan needed more. Friday afternoon, VA clinic. My regular session with Dr. Patricia Morales. She was 53, clinical psychologist, specialized in combat trauma. I'd been seeing her twice a month for 3 years. She'd walked me through the worst of the flashbacks, the hypervigilance, the way my brain couldn't tell the difference between Fort Collins traffic and Kandahar ambushes. I trusted her more than I trusted most people. "You look like you haven't slept," she said. No preamble, that's how she is. "Haven't been sleeping well. Nightmares? Different kind." I told her everything, the pregnancy, the timeline, the evidence. Jessica's threat to use my PTSD diagnosis against me in custody court. Dr. Morales listened, made notes. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. "How are you feeling?" "Like I'm back in Kandahar," I said. "When Jenkins betrayed the squad, sold information to the Taliban, got 3 guys killed. That same feeling, someone you trusted turning on you. That's a trauma response. Your brain is connecting current betrayal to past betrayal. That's normal, Marcus. Expected even. Normal doesn't help me keep custody of my son. Let's talk about that." She set down her pen. "Jessica's threatening to use your PTSD diagnosis against you. You know what I see in that threat?" "That I'm vulnerable." "No, I see desperation. She's trying to weaponize the fact that you sought help, that you came home from war with a diagnosis that millions of veterans share, and instead of self-medicating or pretending you were fine, you got treatment. You went to therapy, you did residential when things got bad, you take medication, you show up here every 2 weeks. And a judge will see that as evidence that you're an excellent father who prioritizes mental health and models healthy behavior for his son. Marcus, you came home from war and did the hardest thing a soldier can do. You asked for help. Your PTSD doesn't make you unfit. Your response to it makes you remarkable." Something in my chest loosened. "She's betting you'll be ashamed of your diagnosis," Dr. Morales continued, "that you'll believe the stigma. But here's what I'll testify to if it comes to that. You're one of my most compliant patients. You've never missed an appointment. You're honest about your struggles. You're actively engaged in your treatment. You've made measurable progress. And most importantly, you've maintained strong relationships, especially with your son." "Dylan's falling apart," I said. "His grades are tanking. He's skipping football, fighting at school, because he's living in a home with massive unspoken tension. That's not your PTSD. That's your wife's infidelity creating a toxic environment. Don't confuse the two." I looked at the Purple Heart sitting on her desk. I'd brought it to our first session 3 years ago. She'd asked me to bring something that represented what I was struggling with. I'd brought the medal in its velvet case. We'd talked about honor, about what it meant, about how I felt like I'd lost mine when I came home broken. "You remember what you told me about that medal?" Dr. Morales asked, following my gaze. "That I didn't deserve it. And what do you know now? That honor isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up anyway." "Exactly. So here's your choice, Marcus. You can let Jessica's threat work. You can claim a child that isn't yours, live a lie, teach your son that integrity is negotiable. Or you can show him what the Purple Heart really means, not the medal, the choice. Every single day, the choice to do the right thing, even when it costs you everything." Saturday morning, Dylan came into the kitchen while I was making coffee. "Hey, Dad, can we talk?" My stomach dropped. "Of course! What's up?" He was holding something, paper, folded in thirds. His hands were shaking. "I found this, in Mom's nightstand. I was looking for a phone charger and..." He held it out. "I should have told you sooner. I'm sorry." I took the paper, unfolded it, lined notebook paper, torn from a spiral, rough edges. Jessica's handwriting, purple ink, that loopy style she'd had since high school. Dated July 1st, 2024. Before the pregnancy announcement. I started reading. "If Marcus finds out, we stick to the plan. Guilt about deployments. His PTSD makes him unstable. My therapist will back that up. Brett promised he'd help if it comes to legal stuff, but he's getting cold feet. Need to lock this down before I'm showing. Once Marcus agrees to claim the baby, he can't back out without destroying Dylan's life. He won't do that. He loves Dylan too much." My hands were shaking. "When did you find this?" I asked. "July." Dylan's voice cracked. "I found it in July, Dad. I've known for months, and I didn't tell you. I thought if I just pretended I didn't see it, it would go away. I thought maybe I misunderstood. But then Mom announced she was pregnant, and I knew." He was crying now, full-on sobbing. 14 years old and carrying this weight. "This is my fault. If I just told you in July, you could have—" "Dylan," I pulled him close. "Stop. Look at me." He looked up, face red, tears streaming. "You're 14 years old. This is not your fault. None of this is your fault. Your mom made choices, bad choices, but that's on her, not you. You understand me? But I knew you're a kid. You're not supposed to police your parents' marriage. That's not your job. Your job is to be 14, to play football and fail math tests and eat too much pizza. This," I held up the letter, "this is my problem, mine and your mom's, not yours." He was shaking. I held him while he cried. The letter sat on the kitchen counter. Evidence, premeditated, calculated. She'd planned this, all of it. Sunday night. Dylan's door was closed, music playing. I was in my office when I heard the knock. Dylan came in, face set, angry. "I need to know the truth," he said. "Is the baby yours?" I closed my laptop. "Sit down." "I don't want to sit down. I want you to answer the question." "The baby's not mine." "Because you were in Denver." "Yeah." "So Mom cheated on you." "Yes." He was breathing hard, processing. "And she wants you to lie about it, to claim the baby, to pretend it's yours." "That's what she's asking, yeah." "And you're gonna do it?" "Dylan, no." His voice rose, sharp. "Are you seriously gonna lie? After everything you taught me? After all that crap about integrity and honor?" And he grabbed something off my shelf, the Purple Heart case, threw it on the desk between us. "After this, you're just gonna throw all of it away? I'm trying to protect you. By lying, by teaching me it's okay to lie when it's convenient. That's protecting me?" "Dylan, you don't understand how complicated. Maybe if you weren't so messed up from the war, Mom wouldn't have needed someone else." The words hit like shrapnel. My vision tunneled. The office disappeared. I wasn't in Colorado anymore. Kandahar, dust in my lungs, radio chatter, Jenkins standing there with that look on his face, the one that said he'd sold us out. The ambush we walked into because of his betrayal. 3 men dead. My best friend bleeding out while I tried to stop it. Couldn't stop it. Watched him die. Marcus, a hand on my shoulder. "Marcus, stay with me." Tommy's voice. "When did Tommy get here?" "You're in Colorado, not Afghanistan. Dylan's safe. You're safe. Breathe, brother." My vision cleared. I was on the floor. Didn't remember getting there. Sweat soaking through my shirt, heart hammering. Dylan was in the doorway, pale, scared. "Dad?" I couldn't look at him. The shame was crushing. "Marcus, look at me." Tommy crouched in front of me. "That was a flashback. Dylan triggered you accidentally. It's okay. You're okay." I scared him. "You didn't hurt him. He's fine. You did good. You recognized it. You didn't lash out. That's progress." I looked at Dylan. "I'm sorry." "Dad, I'm the one who's sorry. I didn't mean—" He was crying again. "I was just repeating what Mom said. She told me if you'd just been normal, if you didn't have PTSD, none of this would have happened. But that's not true, is it? That's just what she wants me to think." Tommy looked at me, then at Dylan. "Kid, your dad went to war. Saw things nobody should see. Came home with wounds you can't see on an x-ray. And instead of drinking them away or pretending they didn't exist, he got help. That takes more courage than any medal. Your mom trying to use that against him? That tells you everything you need to know about her character, not his." Dylan wiped his eyes, looked at me. "I don't want you to lie, Dad. Even if it hurts. I want—" His voice broke. "I just want you to be the person you taught me to be." Monday morning, I texted Dylan. "Skip first period. Meet me at Ramen House." Ramen House, our place. Where we'd gone after his baptism when he was 8. Where we'd celebrated his SAT practice scores. Where we'd mapped out his high school plan. Booth in the back, red vinyl seats, steam rising from bowls of broth. Dylan slid into the booth across from me. Quiet. Still shaken from last night. I had the Purple Heart case on the table. I need to tell you something, I said, and I need you to really hear me. He nodded. Your mom and I are getting divorced. The baby's not mine. It happened in Sedona in June with a guy named Brett Callahan. He's a CrossFit coach at her gym. I have evidence, photos, receipts, everything. I'm filing papers this week. Dylan's face went through about 6 emotions, landed on something like relief mixed with grief. Okay, he said quietly. But that's not what I brought you here to say. I opened the velvet case. The Purple Heart sat there, bronze and purple ribbon, heavy, cold. I want to tell you how I got this, the real story. You got hit by shrapnel saving your squad? I got hit by shrapnel saving Tommy Chen. He was pinned down in a compound. Enemy fire from 3 directions. Everyone else was taking cover. I ran across open ground to pull him out. Took fragments in my shoulder and leg. Hurt like hell. Dylan touched the metal, traced the ribbon. But you know what? I continued. Getting the medal was the easy part. The hard part is what came after. Coming home, dealing with the nightmares, the flashbacks, going to therapy and admitting I needed help, taking medication, doing residential treatment. That's what real honor is, Dylan. I don't understand. This medal? I tapped the bronze. I got it for one moment, one choice under fire. But honor, real honor, that's not about one moment. It's about every single day choosing to do the right thing even when it's easier to lie, even when the truth costs you everything. His eyes were getting red. Your mom wants me to claim this baby, to lie about paternity, to teach you that integrity is negotiable when it gets inconvenient. And you know what? If I did that, I could keep this medal on my wall. But I'd lose what it actually means. What does it mean? It means you don't abandon your values when the bullets start flying, in Kandahar or in Fort Collins. It means you tell the truth even when people you love are trying to weaponize your weaknesses. It means you show up every day and do the hard thing. A tear rolled down Dylan's cheek. I'm scared, he said. Everything's changing. I know, me too. Kids at school are going to talk. Mom's going to be humiliated. Everyone's going to know. Let them talk. You know what matters, Dylan? Not what people think. What you know is true. I taught you that integrity is doing the right thing when no one's watching. But sometimes it's doing the right thing when everyone's watching. That's harder, but it's still right. He picked up the medal, felt the weight. I want to be like you, he said quietly. Kid, you already are. You found that letter, and you brought it to me, even though it hurt. That's courage. That's honor, not the bronze, the choice. The waitress brought our ramen. We ate in comfortable silence. When we left, Dylan put the medal back in the velvet case. Snapped it shut, that distinctive click. Dad? Yeah? I'm proud of you. Those 4 words did more than any therapy session ever could. October 15th, Tuesday morning, I filed for divorce. Rebecca Stern, managing partner at Stern and Associates. Tommy's lawyer had recommended her. Sharp, former prosecutor. She'd reviewed my evidence package and said 4 words. This is a slam dunk. The petition included everything: the ultrasound, the VA discharge papers, the construction calendar, the Sedona invoice, the Instagram screenshots, the gym check-in history, Jessica's handwritten letter dated July 1st, medical impossibility plus photographic evidence plus written admission of premeditated deception. Rebecca filed at the Larimer County Courthouse at 9 a.m. Jessica was served at Fort Collins Memorial Hospital at 2 p.m. Sarah Mitchell texted me at 2:47. Jessica's work friend, the one who'd known about the affair and felt guilty staying quiet. She just got served in the ER break room. Marcus, I'm sorry. We all knew. I should have told you. The whole ER had been watching my marriage die, while Jessica was tending to patients and coming home to lie to my face. Within an hour, the texts started coming. From Coach Linda, my mom, about damn time you stood up for yourself. From Tommy, proud of you, brother. From 3 other guys from the unit, various versions of we got your back. From Jessica, how could you do this to Dylan? I didn't respond to that one. October 28th, custody hearing, Larimer County Family Court. I'd told Dylan he didn't have to come. He insisted. I want to be there, he'd said. I want the judge to know whose side I'm on. We arrived at 8:30. Rebecca was already there, reviewing notes. Jessica came in with her lawyer, Marcus Hoffman, mid-50s, expensive suit. The kind of attorney who specializes in making combat veterans look unstable. But then something happened. The courtroom doors opened, and 15 men in dress blues walked in. Army dress uniforms, polished brass, ribbons, medals, creases sharp enough to cut. They filed into the back rows in formation, stood at attention until the judge entered, then sat in unison. Jessica's face went pale. Tommy Chen, front row, Purple Heart on his chest, matching mine. My crew from Bennett & Sons. 4 guys, all veterans. 3 men from my residential PTSD program at the VA. 6 more from the local veterans support group. 1 guy I deployed with, who drove 4 hours from Denver. 15 combat veterans. Every single one there for me. Jessica's lawyer leaned over, whispered something to her. She looked like she might be sick. The judge entered. Honorable Margaret Chen, no relation to Tommy, former JAG officer herself. She took one look at the uniforms in her courtroom, and something shifted in her expression. "This is a custody hearing regarding Dylan Bennett, age 14, she said. "I understand both parents are contesting primary custody." Hoffman stood. "Your Honor, my client, Mrs. Bennett, has concerns about Mr. Bennett's fitness as a custodial parent given his documented PTSD diagnosis, his recent residential psychiatric treatment, and his ongoing mental health struggles." "I see." Judge Chen looked at Rebecca. "Defense?" Rebecca stood. "Your Honor, I'd like to call Dr. Patricia Morales to testify regarding Mr. Bennett's mental health and parenting capacity." Dr. Morales took the stand. Sworn in. Rebecca walked her through my treatment history. 3 years of therapy, excellent compliance, residential treatment completion, medication management, progress documentation. "Dr. Morales," Rebecca said, "in your professional opinion, does Mr. Bennett's PTSD diagnosis make him an unfit parent?" "Absolutely not. Mr. Bennett is one of my most engaged patients. He sought help for combat trauma, something millions of veterans experience. He's been honest about his struggles, committed to treatment, and has made measurable progress. His decision to get help demonstrates exactly the kind of responsible parenting we want to see. And his residential treatment this past May and June. That was voluntary intensive treatment during a particularly difficult period. He completed the program successfully and returned to his regular life with better coping mechanisms. That's not evidence of unfitness. That's evidence of someone who prioritizes his mental health and his family." Hoffman cross-examined, tried to make the flashbacks sound dangerous. Dr. Morales shut it down with clinical precision. PTSD flashbacks are emotional, not violent. Marcus has never been a danger to Dylan. His treatment shows parental responsibility, not instability. Then Rebecca called Tommy Chen. Tommy stood, walked to the stand. You could hear his boots on the courtroom floor. Every veteran in the room sat up straighter. "State your name for the record." "Thomas Chen, co-owner of Bennett & Sons Building, Army Infantry retired, Purple Heart recipient." "How do you know Marcus Bennett?" "We served together in Afghanistan. I've known him for 12 years. He saved my life in Kandahar, took shrapnel pulling me to cover during a compound breach. We started a business together 6 years ago. He's my business partner and my brother." "And in your observation, is he a good father?" Tommy looked at the judge. "Your Honor, Sergeant Bennett saved my life on a battlefield, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I've watched him save himself every day since. Watched him come home with wounds nobody could see and choose to get help instead of letting them destroy him. Watched him go to therapy when his brain told him he was weak for needing it. Watched him show up for his son at every football game, every school event, every moment that mattered." His voice caught. He steadied it. "He's the best father and best man I know, and every person in uniform behind me will testify to the same." 14 other veterans stood in unison. Judge Chen's eyes widened. "Noted? Counselor?" Hoffman had nothing. Cross-examination went nowhere. Then Dylan stood up. "Your Honor, can I say something?" Judge Chen looked surprised. "Young man, you're not scheduled to testify?" "I know, but I need to." He was holding something, the Purple Heart case. "Please." She studied him. 14 years old in his football jersey, number 24, Bennett across the back. "Approach the bench." Dylan walked forward. I tried to catch his eye, but he was focused on the judge. "What's your name?" "Dylan Bennett. I'm 14. Marcus is my dad." "What would you like to tell me, Dylan?" He opened the velvet case. set it on the bench. My dad got this medal for saving somebody's life. He doesn't talk about it much, but he taught me that the medal isn't what matters. It's what you do every day after. He taught me that integrity is doing the right thing even when it costs you everything. Dylan's voice was shaking but clear. My mom had an affair. She got pregnant. She wanted my dad to lie about it, to claim the baby was his. She tried to use his PTSD against him. Told me if he'd just been normal, none of this would have happened. But that's a lie. My dad isn't broken, he's honest. And he chose to tell the truth, even though he knew it would hurt. He picked up the medal, held it up. This represents one moment of courage, but my dad shows courage every single day. He goes to therapy. He takes care of me. He shows up. He's not perfect, but he's real. And I'd rather have a real dad with PTSD who tells the truth than a perfect dad who teaches me to lie. Dylan set the medal back in the case, looked at the judge. I want to live with my dad, not because mom's a bad person, but because dad's the person I want to be when I grow up. The courtroom was silent. Judge Chin took a long breath. Thank you, Dylan. You can sit down. 15 men showed up for me that day, not because they had to, because brotherhood means no one fights alone. Now, here's what I want to know. Who showed up for you when everything fell apart? Who's your found family, the people who chose to stand with you? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. And if this story moved you, if you felt it, subscribe. I tell stories about people who face impossible choices and choose integrity anyway. I'll see you in the next one. Now, let me tell you what happened next. Judge Chen issued her ruling 2 days later. Primary custody to Marcus Bennett. Jessica would have visitation rights. Dylan's preference was given significant weight given his age and maturity. The court found no evidence that Marcus's PTSD impaired his parenting capacity. In fact, his treatment compliance demonstrated responsible parenting. Regarding the pregnancy, paternity test ordered. Once confirmed that Marcus was not the biological father, he would be removed from any parental responsibility. Jessica didn't fight it. The evidence was overwhelming. Brett Callahan was served with a paternity claim. He fled Colorado. Last anyone heard, he was in California. His gym fired him. The owner was a Vietnam vet named Frank. He told Tommy, I don't employ cowards who abandon their responsibilities. Brett's cousin in Denver, a woman named Christina who'd been trying to conceive for years, reached out to Jessica through a lawyer. She wanted to adopt the baby. Open adoption. She'd provide a loving home, financial stability, everything the child needed. She just wanted a chance. Jessica agreed. The baby would be born into a family that wanted him. Christina and her husband would have the son they'd been praying for. Medical history would be provided. It was the best possible outcome for a child who hadn't asked to be part of this mess. Dylan's grades started improving. He went back to football, still had rough days, but he was healing. Jessica and I stayed civil for Dylan's sake. She moved into an apartment across town, started her own therapy. I don't know if she'll ever apologize for the PTSD weapon, but she's his mother. He deserves to have a relationship with her if he wants one. December 3rd, Saturday morning. Tommy and 3 guys from the unit came over. We were building a deck off the back of my house. Been planning it for 2 years. Finally had time. Dylan was helping, wearing his jersey, number 24. He'd started wearing it again. Said it reminded him who he was. We worked in comfortable rhythm, measuring, cutting, nailing. The smell of fresh lumber, the sound of hammers. Colorado sun warm on our shoulders. Through the kitchen window, you could see the Purple Heart on the mantel. Navy velvet case. Not hidden, not worshipped. Just there. A reminder. On the fridge, there was a new photo. Just me and Dylan, taken last week on a hiking trip. Candid shot. Both of us smiling. Real smiles. Not the practiced ones from family portraits. Real. Tommy straightened up, wiped sweat from his forehead. This is good work, he said. Yeah. I looked around. 4 veterans, 1 kid, a half-finished deck. Yeah, it is. Dylan hammered in a nail. Perfect strike. I'd taught him that. Dad? He looked up. Yeah? Thanks. For what? For being here. 3 words, simple, but they held everything. I wasn't there during 3 deployments. I was protecting our country, doing what I'd sworn to do. But there's truth in Jessica's weapon. I was physically absent for years of his childhood. But I'm here now. Every game, every morning, every moment he needs me. That's what matters. Not the past she keeps trying to use against me, the present I'm building with him. Dylan, I'm always going to be here. That's a promise. He smiled, went back to hammering. Tommy caught my eye, nodded once. That silent communication we learned in Kandahar. You good? Yeah, I'm good. The deck was taking shape. We'd been working for 3 hours and we were maybe halfway done. Didn't matter. The work wasn't the point. The point was doing it together, building something solid, something real, something honest, the kind of thing that lasts. February 20th, 2025, the baby was born. Healthy boy. 8 pounds, 6 ounces. Christina and her husband were in the delivery room. They named him James, after Christina's father, a Korean war vet who'd passed away last year. Jessica signed the papers, relinquished her rights. It was the hardest thing she'd ever done, she told Dylan. But it was right. Brett never showed up, never acknowledged paternity, just another coward who ran when things got real. But James didn't need Brett. He had 2 parents who loved him desperately, who'd paint his nursery and read him stories and teach him to throw a baseball. Dylan asked if he could meet his half-brother someday. Christina said yes, whenever he was ready. Open adoption, open heart. The kid deserved that much. March 14th, Friday night. Dylan had a football game, first game of spring season. We won 24-17. Dylan scored the winning touchdown. I screamed so loud I lost my voice. After the game, in the parking lot, he ran up to me still in his uniform, grass-stained, sweaty, grinning. Did you see it? See it? I recorded it. We're watching it 100 times. He laughed, that pure, unself-conscious laugh of a kid who's rediscovered joy. Dad? Yeah, buddy? I'm glad you told the truth, even though it hurt. I'm glad. I pulled him into a hug. He smelled like teenage boy and victory and hope. Me too, son? Me too. We drove home. Dylan fell asleep in the passenger seat, head against the window. I looked over at him. 14 years old. Almost a man, stronger than he knows. I'd been so afraid the divorce would destroy him. But truth doesn't destroy. Lies do. Truth might hurt, might cost you everything, might make you face your worst nightmares in front of 15 veterans and a judge and your own kid. But truth also sets you free. Jessica had said, "You weren't there." For 3 deployments, 3 years of his childhood. She was right about that. But I'd learned something more important. I'm here now. Not in the past she weaponizes. Not in the future I can't control. Here, now, present, showing up. That's what honor looks like. Not a medal in a velvet case. Every single day, the choice.